your dreams.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm just going to be talking about Wuthering Waves' upcoming first anniversary. It seems that a lot of people are kind of disappointed with their anniversary. They were expecting a lot more than they were given. No free 5-star character, not even a free standard character. No quality of life for the flight mechanic. You gotta pay for 2 skins. There is no free skin this anniversary. They also have like 10 different banners on Rate Up, and all of them still have the 50-50 system. I do agree that the rewards for this anniversary are pretty bad. My expectations were not that high to begin with, since this is Kuro Games. I know that's very perplexing to say, but Kuro is just as money hungry as Hoyo. They kind of just do a better job at masking it, and now it seems that people are starting to see with their eyes of Kuro's true colors. Kuro does a better job at hiding it, since they are a much smaller company. They kind of have to listen. They're much bigger now thanks to the help of Tencent. In fact, this anniversary rewards are probably very doo-doo thanks to Tencent. Tencent is a pretty greedy company. I feel bad about Kuro teaming up with Tencent, because majority of the revenue is probably going into Tencent's pockets, and thus Kuro could probably never really grow as a company, but you know, it's a wait and see type of thing. A pattern that I've seemed to notice with these AAA gacha games is that when they get first released, a lot of people tend to praise the heavens for these gacha games, and then eventually people will just start shitting on them. Genshin and Star Rail are a pretty good example, right? Both of those games came out, people were praising them to the heavens, and now look at them now. On the Play Store, they basically have low rating. It looks like Wuthering Waves might actually follow this pattern. This anniversary just seems overall just mediocre. I do think people kind of had their expectations way too high thanks to leakers and their blind faith in Kuro. The disappointment is very real even in the CN community, although the CN community seem more angry at the fact that Kuro is starting to cater more to new and returning players, and they're not really catering to the veteran players in Wuthering Waves. In the Wuthering Waves Discord server, there's even a new thread for the anniversary feedback. People overall are just not very happy. People do make the argument that Wuthering Waves has given out free 5 stars before in normal patches like Zhangli Yao and the free 5-star standard selector, but those cases are more or less just damage control to please their players, also to lure players into thinking that Kuro has got their backs. But at the end of the day, Kuro is just any other corporation. They just want the dough. Other things that players need to consider is, well, Wuthering Waves is a 3D open world game. It probably costs a lot of money to make these games, so of course they're going to, you know, start milking their players, start getting these predatory practices in. Not that I'm in favor of these, but that's just how reality works. When you want something, it's gonna cost something. All you really gotta do is, if you don't like it, just don't buy it. There's a possibility that this anniversary could be changed, since the CN player base is relatively angry. However, it really just depends on how angry they really are in order for Kuro to change these around. I do know Kuro has a pretty bad habit of pissing off the CN player base, whether it's because of the writing of their Chinese arc, or excluding their CN players from like a Samsung event, only allowing Korean players to enter. I don't think the Discord feedback is going to mean much, since, you know, the global players kind of don't really matter. It's really going to be up to the JP, CN, and Korean players to save this anniversary. I also forgot to mention that we get free 10 pulls after Zani's banner, which is really odd because Zani is probably one of the most anticipated characters for Wuthering Waves. Genshin had a similar situation with Mavica. They gave out 20 free pulls after Mavica's banner ends. However, with that case, there was the Chinese New Year going around, so like if Hoyoverse didn't give the 20 free pulls during the Chinese New Year, which happens to end after Mavika's banner, then the CN player base would have been pissed. That patch had some pretty stacked banners. Clorend is very strong, Arlecchino is very strong, so it's not like the players really missed out on much. But here, I don't really think people give a shit about the 5-star dungeon. I think more people care about Zani instead. And there's no Chinese New Year going around, so I don't know why they gave out free 10 pulls after Zani's banner. Doesn't really affect me that much because I might skip Zani anyways. I am saving for the blonde elf chick. Anyways, when it comes to mainstream gacha games, I think it's just better to always keep your expectations low. If you're playing gacha games for freebies, I would probably just recommend playing gacha games with just waifus only, since they tend to give out more freebies. Nikkei Anniversaries gives out hundreds of free pulls. Blue Archive also gives out a ton of free pulls. Azure Lane always gives out like free pulls. You can basically get any character for free in Azure Lane if you play the game on a weekly basis. Snowbreak Containment Zone has given out like 5 or 7 5-star limited characters at this point. Brown Dust 2 also gives out tons of freebies as well. Waifu games in general just tend to give out more freebies compared to these mainstream gacha games. And I think that's because most waifu games tend to be PNG auto slaps, so they're not going to cost as much money to make compared to these mainstream AAA gacha games. They also make more money from the skins themselves, especially with Azure Lane. Azure Lane gets skins for days. Every Azure Lane patch, there's a new set of skins to buy. Same thing with Snowbreak Containment Zone. Every new patch, there's new skins to buy. But those games probably don't take that much to make since they're not open world games. I wonder what Azure Promilia is going to be like, because that is an open world game and it's also just going to be consist of only waifus. But anyways, if you just want freebies, just play waifu only orientated games. The only way this anniversary for Wuthering Waves could be saved if the Eastern player base, you know, made a fuss about it. They're basically the only way that this anniversary can be saved. Anyways, that's going to be the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I will see you guys later.
Bye now. Come again soon.